Welcome to the Python video tutorial series for statistical computing with Python. If you looked at any of the other videos, you'll notice that I have some videos on R and SAS. Now I'm expanding out into Python. If you like my videos from past, you might want to subscribe and watch as the series develops. If it's already developed by the time you run across this, you'll find that there are lots of resources to start learning how to do statistical computing with Python. Now, with this said, Python is incredibly effective and it's quite popular in the data science community. So if you're interested in that, this is going to be the video series for you, because I'm not assuming that you really know how to program in anything as we go along. So if you already know how to program, this might not be for you. Okay, so Python's a snake. It's also a programming language that's extremely powerful, has lots of libraries that we can use for calculation. Now, what we want to do is download a Python package, which I like, which is Anaconda. Okay, and if you go to anaconda.org, you can come here and download Anaconda and install it on your machine. It's got a free license. You can sign up for things if you want to do things with the cloud, or you want email sent to you. But what we're interested in is we're going to use the download Anaconda. We're going to come here, and what we're going to do is it says, notice that this release was May 30th, 2018. So if you're watching in the future, you might find that there's newer versions out. And what we're going to do is we're going to use version 3.6, and I'm going to use the 64-bit installer. So this will allow us to be able to program in Python, and it has a lot of libraries already with it. That's why I like Anaconda. I'm not trying to sell it or anything, but I don't have to think a lot about installing packages, which can be quite tedious. But once you're good at Python, it's not so bad. Okay, so download this and install it, and we'll move on from there. All right, so now that we've downloaded Python and we've opened up the Spyder Editor, which is the editor that I'm going to go with because it's the easiest to deal with for a beginner. You may have different opinions on your own, but for me, this is going to be the easiest, and it gets us started. It's very similar to other programming languages, if you're used to other programming languages, this editor, because over here is where you write your script, and this is where you can do comments, and it shows you how to do some commenting already at the beginning. So if you look, 3 quotes here, we'll open a comment block, and then you close it off with 3 quotes. But if you just want to quote one line, you can use the hashtag, which is really handy to use. And if you don't know what those are, we're going to talk about those more as we go along, because I'll be commenting through the code quite a bit. You can see down here is the console, and you can see my Anaconda is actually not 3.7, but it's 3.6.5, which was released on March 29th, 2018. But for most people, there won't be any problem. Now, this console is where the code is actually run and your answers come out. So keep that in mind. This is where you're going to look to find your answers, unless you're exporting them directly, and we'll talk about that as well. So just keep that in mind as we go along here. Now, up here provides various things. So there's a variable explorer. So if you have variables in Python, you can see what they are. You can see file explorers, and you can see help. Now, depending on how you use this and set it up, you can get lots of good things out of this particular window. Notice it has different tabs, though. And down here, you have the Python console, and you probably will notice that sometimes it crashes and you have to restart it, but that's part of this interactive programming environment versus something that you actually have to compile. And there are ways to compile Python code, but we're not going to talk about those right now. We'll talk about those later. Okay, so let's start off with just some very simple things. So let's just put in here up at the top that we have a comment line and we have a comment block. So I'm going to type in here my first Python program. I'm going to cut this one out because I really don't care what it is. And this is just going to be, this is a comment block. And the reason I want to do this is we want to put comments in. So hashtag is the single line comment symbol. And if you look here, you have the 3 quotes and 3 quotes to begin a comment block. So keep that in mind as we go along, because we're going to be commenting as we go along. I probably will use a lot of single line comments. If you like comment blocks, you could do them on your own or learn how to use them. Okay, now before we actually go and do anything, we're going to stop here so that you can kind of digest whether this is something you really want to do. And in the next video, we'll start learning how to actually program in Python and get some useful information out of it. All right, so see you in the next video.